So, here's what I recommend. I invite you to download my silent prayer, and I want you to start doing it. You just download it, get the points of how to do it, and then after a while, you just do it on your own. It's going to point you in the right direction that your life will be returned to you from God. He will give you your life back, because anyone and all people who has anger, they're not themselves. You are the person that you are angry at. That's why it's so important to get to know yourself so that you can see who you're angry at. And if you're doing the hooping and hollering prayers and things like that, some people get up, oh, praise the Lord, hoop and holler, bless my mama, bless my daddy. Continue to do it. Do both. You will see if you want to stay with the hooping and hollering, or do you want to be still and know God. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church. I noticed after a while that when these guys overcome their anger, they have amazing ideas about starting a business, but because they've been told that if you don't get a loan from the bank, or if you don't have a 5-year plan, or if you don't do this, and it's just simply not true, it's the first step. With faith, then all things are possible. So, but the most important thing is to return to the Father. That yearning that you have, that emptiness, that void, is not for more stuff. It's not for more friends. It is a return to the Father, because there's no way you can return to God and be angry at your earthly father. So thank you all so much, right? People around the world donated to Bond at rebuildingtheman.com, or they call 800-411-2663, and we're still committed to pointing the right way for men and women to return to the Father. We have a counseling service, and I have to admit, thanks to God, it is the best counseling service on this side of heaven. I counsel with men and women, families, individuals around the world. Most people are unhappy, they're miserable, they have rough lives, they're depressed, suicidal, young and old, of all races. I understand, I know why, and I do understand it. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombia.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor, baby, and this is my show. Thanks for tuning in, folks, on this fine Wednesday. What a fine Wednesday it is to be back. How you doing? I see you all in the chat. It's a fine Wednesday. Weeks are going by fast, and it's fast times maybe in the world. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just a little anchor baby with my little view at Davos, the world stage. We've been kind of speaking at length about Canada and a little geopolitics, okay? And so we'll do a little bit of that because he was at Davos, and it's just kind of been the topic that's been interesting me. Not an expert by any means, but I'm speaking accurately from what I know and see. So we'll be speaking a little bit on that. Let me pull it all up. I'm seeing you all in the chat. An absolute pleasure as always. I want to welcome my people here on Rumble. How you doing? Rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. That's punchy.tv/Anchor Baby. And of course, my people here on YouTube. How you doing? Welcome. How you doing, Jim? Alaska in the house. We got Canada in the house. And all the people here. Welcome. Thank you. And probably elsewhere too. I got international viewers. Incredible. So I appreciate you all being here. We'll get to the topics, your super chats, and of course your calls. If you got something on your mind, something you want to talk about here, a question you want to ask, a topic you want to bring up, you can call in. That's 888-775-3773. What else can I say? Doing a little housekeeping here. And we got to remind you, people, please. They're saying it's the end of the rules-based order. That didn't mean that you can now that wasn't a signal for you to then go deeper into your hell. That's not what that meant. Okay, you're seeing the rules-based order is over, so let me just be a slob. Okay. Oh, so the international rules-based order is dead, declared dead. 1940 whatever to 2025, 26. It's over, so I'm going to be a slob. I'm not going to click the like button. I'm not going to say hello. And it's like, okay, so you're just looking for an excuse. Okay, you got to use somebody else to justify your standing. I swear people call me every day. Like, Nick, why are you talking about this or that? When somebody else is just as bad. So you were just looking for an excuse to not click the like button. Don't be rude. You could do what you want, but you're being rude. You're being rude, and you're saying, I'm going to hell, and I want to go to hell. So you could click the like button. So appreciate it. Welcome, 888-775-3773. What can I say here? Look, Davos, all that. I want to get through some of this. Oh, hold on here. We got to make sure. Don't worry about this. Don't even worry about this. Okay, because the cloud is not happy. What am I doing here? Look, I'm trying to update something. Don't even pay attention to this. Okay. The cloud must know the updates. We got to get the updates. But you're familiar. We're talking at length a bit at what they're saying. Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, has been fully saying. Others been making articles about it. The rules-based order is over. The big powers are gonna bully, and we're not gonna let bullies stand up to us. What? We're the no bully order. Remember we taught them in the schools. We forced them. We sat them down, the kids, and we said, bullying's bad, racism is bad, okay? And we start churning out good rules-based order citizens. Turn up the volume, Nit. Mic check. Testing 1, 2, 3. Mic check. That's looking better, I think. They're teaching them all this stuff. And they're like, we're the anti-bully people. Remember that? They did that. What do they call it? Is it anti-bullying? Anti-bullying campaigns? Did they have a different word for it? anti-bullies. Do you see the coalition? It's like the anti-bullies, the women, the feminists, the feel bad for others people. Anyways, they're saying we're not going to be bullied. We're not going to be bullied by Trump. He wants to reimagine all sorts of trade deals. In fact, he's turned global trade on its head. He's hitting everybody with tariffs. What is that? Some ancient thing? What the heck are terrorists bringing that out of like hundreds of years ago? And so they're digging their heels. It to me seems like a combination. It could be. There seems to be a range to me, where these people like Mark Carney and other people, you think, well, what is it? Is it that they just really just like wholeheartedly, naively believe we're supposed to hold hands, rules-based orders, no fascists, no, is it right? Fascist, racist guy, no. Okay, so and they're making like a value statement here, right? They're looking at Trump. They're like, no, fascist, racist guy. That's worse than Hitler. China. Well, suddenly, if that's Hitler, then China's good. They're shaking hands. Is it just like naive or just capture, political capture? I keep bringing that up because I see it as such an easy possibility when you just look at the type of people that are running things. You know, these short-haired female liberal judges and all that. It makes so much sense that you'll see those type of people shaking hands with the Islamists people, the Mamdanis, and over there in Canada too, shaking hands like we're the same. There's no distinction. And meanwhile, those people are like, great, you see us as you. We're not here to take over, politically and otherwise. So Carney's at Davos. I mean, there's a number of things here that went on. Mark Carney flexing on the global stage. Okay, that's what they're saying here. Boom. They're saying he's flexing on the global stage. Prime Minister Mark Carney got a standing ovation in Davos for starkly describing the end of Pax Americana. And he's looking for new allies to help his country survive it. Now, there was something interesting about this one, but it's essentially some of what we were talking about. I mean, he just went on over there at Davos to, they had this meeting, emergency meeting, over there in the Swiss Alps, okay? The World Economic Forum meets here. This is where they meet, okay? And where was I? He just kind of went on to say what he was saying, like really underpin it, saying, it's over, guys. No more nostalgia for that. It's not coming back. We got to, us, the middle powers, we got to really work together and make these new coalitions because we're going to be bullied. And it's all this like language of, they're going to bully us. They're going to bully us. And I remember just how big of a bully the so-called anti-bullies, the so-called victims are. For all that can be said about the great powers, and they're just, I mean, I'm sure you hear it all the time, especially from the worst people. You'll see Ilhan Omar with that thing on her head. She'll be like, America, they go around with, imperialism around the world. They've been doing it forever, pilfering all the nations of their wealth, the British Empire, all this. And there's many on the right. There's many who agree with Trump, who would agree with me, et cetera, who would have maybe a lot of criticisms for the U.S., and especially the U.S.'s actions abroad. But for all the bad, the British Empire, America, you could say all those things, but throughout history, these little nations have had their bullying too. Like, and what has happened in this age? What does it cost Venezuela to not work with China and Russia? Oh, so bad. The U.S. imperialists, like what? It has to be like mere jealousy. We should have what you have. So again, the so-called the little guys become the little guys come together to become a big bully. I mean, that happens all the time. And they're playing like a big old victim when they could do the right thing. Just kind of like work with Trump, work with America. Okay, things are changing. We're going to just throw a big stink and say, hey, but you can't change things. But globalism has failed. Some were saying at the Davos thing, making great points. And many of you will agree that Trump had to do it. Trump had to do it. The scam couldn't go on anymore. The global scam on America just couldn't go on anymore. And I see calls coming in. I want to get to all of you. 888-775-3773. I'll get to you. So let me get back to this. There's something interesting about this. I mean, I pretty much told you what he was saying. He described the end of the era underpinned by United's hegemony, calling the current phase a rupture. He never mentioned the President Trump by name, but his reference was clear, right? The blame is on Trump, right? He's ruining the world. I don't know. I think it's all talk. They got the military. They got some troops over there in Greenland. But you saw Macron with his sunglasses. That's all. It's all talk. It's all talk. I know the Russians don't believe him. Let me move through some of this because I already just told you kind of my thoughts and what Carney was saying. Let me play some of these links I had to remember some of this because it was interesting, just kind of hearing him talk and all that.
It seems that every day we're reminded that we live in an era of great power rivalry, that the rules-based order is fading, that the strong can do what they can and the weak must suffer what they must. And this aphorism of Thucydides is presented as inevitable, as the natural logic of international relations reasserting itself. And faced with this logic, there is a strong tendency for countries to go along to get along, to accommodate,
see what a bully,
to avoid trouble, to hope that compliance will buy safety. Well, it won't.
What a victim. Oh, so it was compliance this whole time? Look, it's called you're getting stuff too, and you could get a better deal for your country if you were tougher. But no, you got to lean back and say, but the rules-based order, right? Europe, back me up. Europe, this guy's a fascist, Europe. And it's really kind of the other way around, actually. It's like Europe standing up to Trump and Canada is like an arm. And so they're going along. Now, Carney's recent words have been like the most like full-throated display of this opposition. That's just my opinion. I think they're just like an arm of the EU. But you see how they have to lean back on that? You could get a better deal for your country. It's not. I know that you're allies, but even with allies, you got to fend for yourself in a sense. But you have someone like Trump doing that for America, and Mark Carney wants to cry. Really, it's not even Carney. It's this rules-based order. They're crying.
So what are our options?
And they're crying, but they're dying. They're crying and lying, but they're like, all right, they're dead, right? They're like taking over. London is like, it's just a bunch of Africans selling like just scammers in their cities. Like they're dead. But these guys, they're fine. And either they can go on thinking I'm saving the world, making it better, or they're like paid. So Canada's going down. I mean, you guys I never even go around and say, oh, Canada's going down. You hear it a lot. I tell you about how much where I grew up changed. But anyways, look, we've been speaking about this past few days. This is a little bit more, so just some stuff I had for you. Hope you learned something here. Davos, man. It's just lots happening, folks. Real things, material changes, whales in the background moving, missiles moving around, okay? Islands in the crosshairs. Real things, oil, minerals. They're calling it the end of globalism. Here, one more clip though before we get to that one. What's this one?
We won.
Right, without us, you'd be speaking German. You know, that's a line I've heard before, and this one is said by U.S. politicians and EU politicians kind of over the years as like an overture that to the, is that the word, overture? You know, a gesture to a reference to the victory of the Allies. Okay, I'm sure that's clear to you. You don't be speaking German, but
And then
you know, I get this way. He's saying it here. The vibe I get from Trump is more like, buddy, you can't protect yourselves right now. You can't do anything. We got the guns, and it would be the same scenario right now.
And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now, you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps.
Perhaps some of you guys, I think you guys called me too sometimes. You're like, hey, someone called me just the other day. Like, I don't know, Nick. We if Germany won today, if Germany had won today, we would not have. What was he saying? What was he saying? White people being like something, just like, you know, diversity and just like crap. That was something someone said on my show. I know not deeply of that history. But what else? I want to get to my calls, but there was a couple interesting things. Look, Trump, he globalization has failed. This was somewhat interesting. Now this is this individual here. Now this is Howard Lutnick. I'll tell you about him in a sec. Right there, the World Economic Forum. Right, the world leaders meet here. How to make the world a better place. This is where agenda. Right, what do they call it? Is it Agenda 2030? No, something, that plan. Right. You will own nothing, and you'll be happy. And so, you know, the world's top globalists, they say, meet here. It really is a forum of world leaders, okay? And as you know, the rules-based order that is dying. Did Trump kill it? Wait, what? Did he kill woke? Sorry, I keep making quips. The rules-based order, which is dying, right, is, as we know, gay, right? Pro-gay, anti-white, communist, wants to spread wealth, feels bad for all the people they shouldn't feel bad for, and all that feeling bad for them has not helped them. They've gone way worse. So anyways, this guy's like, it's over. That all died.
Okay. We are in Davos at the World Economic Forum. And the Trump administration and myself, we are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America. It's a failed policy. It is what the WEF has stood for, which is export, offshore, far shore, find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider, which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF.
It really isn't, though. Like, it's like the world was always like that. It never really stopped being that way. The pretense was just, I guess, call it the U.S.'s dominance in the world. The pretense of we're doing it was always power dynamics. Okay. But yeah, Chris, Chris from chat, you liking his commentary here, and he I think he had kind of expertly summarizes some of the more, call it like on the surface, but really, it goes deep, reasons that why Trump had to do it. I mean, all the normal people know. Everybody knows it. They're listening. They're like, yeah, that's why we voted for him. That's that challenge to all that. That's the scam that I was talking about. And it's everybody all on the periphery, making a lot of noise, right? Because it's affecting the Howard Lutnick. He currently serves as the Secretary of Commerce, I believe. He's the Secretary of Commerce. Let me see here. Secretary of Commerce. I don't know much about him. I mean, I just know that he's a big like Republican donor. Before that, he was pretty even Stevens, kind of known Democrat donor, Jewish family. Has some like call it fame or whatever, coming on the scene during 9/11 with a big criticism of the attacks. I think he was supporting Bush there. They write about his political evolution and becoming part of the and actually becoming part of Trump's transition for the 2025, right, 2026 era there. The globalism is dead. I mean, look, Trump's just doing, that's what you call America first. I mean, Trump, I think, in my opinion, Trump is, they call it like globalism is dead. No, it's just, we're dropping the pretense, stopping the scam. They're calling it dead because they're mad. But there could still be trade. There could still be all these things. Trump's always been open, all those things. He's like, we could work this way, or I'll hit you with the tariffs. I mean, hey, plata o plomo. Plata o plomo. What else about this? Look, let's keep it moving here. Globalization has failed. And a bunch of weaklings are coming out like, hey, stop it. Stop it. Trump. Okay, a woman. Meloni. Italy's Giorgia Meloni. It's too bad to see this too. She goes goo goo gaga when talking to Trump. Okay, she should know better. She's like, okay, I know a strong man when I see him. But she's got all these Macron with his sunglasses. I don't know. She got some idea in her head. No, I'm messing around. I'm infantilizing her. I'm being very misogynistic, right? But she's part of Italy, and the EU is basically showing a unified front, okay?
Sbagliata questa strategia,
Allora
mi si deve formalizzare l'alternativa. Si deve dire quindi che cosa si intende fare. Cioè, dobbiamo prendere distanze nel senso che dobbiamo uscire dalla NATO? Dobbiamo chiudere le basi americane? Dobbiamo rompere?
Must we close American bases? Must we sever trade relations and storm McDonald's? Okay. All right, Meloni, calm down. It's not the embassy. That's a McDonald's. That's not an embassy. Well, Americans eat bird. Now you just want to insult. Why are we catching strays here, Meloni? Now you're just throwing strays at the American public? Okay, maybe they got to eat better. RFK's on it. RFK's doing his best here. Okay, we just told him to drink whole milk, stop with the ultra-processed foods. Okay, but okay. Oh, we got to storm the McDonald's in Italy. Okay, we got to remove U.S. influence in America. I mean, is this her saying that McDonald's abroad are U.S. state influence, U.S. state power, international state power? Are we learning that now? Is McDonald's, okay, never mind. McDonald's, an arm of the government. That's awesome. I think that's awesome. Ronald McDonald just busting in, just Maduroing everybody. Okay, we're having fun. Meloni showing a unified front with the EU, playing tough. RT, Russia, they're not so convinced. They're not so good. They must have been watching the Anchor Baby yesterday. I wasn't convinced either. French president. Look at him. Look at him. Dude. Bro. Zero aura. Your wife, we saw your old teacher wife slap you. Okay? You get shaken around by Trump physically. the handshake. Over the years, we see her. Okay, she might be a nice lady. I don't have anything against it. It's nothing personal. Your old teacher wife slaps you in that plane. You're like, you have a dumb. You're like, nothing happened. And you're gonna play tough guy. Oh, I'm the tough guy. I'm the Punisher. I got sunglasses. I got the aviators on. Isn't that an American thing? Isn't that like American jet fighter look? You know what I'm saying? Yes, I'll accept your cookies, Russia Today. Please, don't honeypot me. Please, don't use me as intelligence. Okay, isn't that the like American fighter pilot look? Yeah, the Russians aren't convinced. So we'll see what happens with all that. I mean, they're saying they're coming out with like Carney and stuff. They're saying, hey, we'll fight them. I mean, he didn't say fight. Let me just be clear. He didn't say fight. He said, we stand behind Article 5, which is what? That's the like, if you invade a sovereign country like Greenland or whatever, which is Denmark, then we're going to fight you. We're going to attack you. I mean, that's what he's saying.
It seems that...
Oh, no, this is the long speech. So, yeah, Russia's not convinced.
To know what Canada is doing to protect the integrity of Greenland. And related, China fashions itself a near-Arctic power and with some claims to Arctic resources. So I wonder if you could answer that question, what we're doing to help protect Greenland's integrity, and how do you feel about China's claims, such as they are, to Arctic resources?
Well, to several aspects of that. The first, with respect to Greenland, the future of Greenland is a decision for Greenland and for the Kingdom of Denmark. We are NATO partners with Denmark, and so our full partnership stands. Our obligations on Article 5, Article 2 of NATO stand, and we stand full square behind those.
I'd like to know.
We stand, okay. Tough guys, we'll see. I don't know. Russia's not convinced. And, I mean, Trump's just saying, look, you guys don't have it. You guys just don't got it. You guys are not holding down, the Arctic Circle. Then we'll get to calls. You guys are just not holding it down. This is the GIUK choke point, as it's called. Okay? The GIUK choke point, or the GIUK gap. Let me see if I can. Will it pull up on Google Maps if I type that in? Doesn't matter. We'll just go to it. We could just travel to it. The GIUK gap. Okay. And I see more calls coming. I'll get to all of you. An area in the northern Atlantic Ocean that forms a naval choke point. Its name is an initialism for Greenland, Iceland, and the United Kingdom. Okay, it's just this area, basically. Major strategic choke point for naval vessels, submarines, okay? You heard a caller talk about, okay, the minerals and oil and stuff. I think that's definitely part of it. We'll take it. But it's like the geographic strategy, the geographic thing, you know what I mean? That's a technical term. The man is insecure. You can hear it. Who are you talking about? I'm backed up on the chat. You talking about Carney? Yeah. Yes, he speaks with no authority. He kept saying but not with not with like an art-like authority, just cheap politician talk. Oh man. Look, we got plenty to get to. We'll get more. We'll get back to it. There's stuff to do. Your super chats and all that. The world at large. How about we talk to some callers here? 888-775-3773. We got Art. Speaking of Art, out of Ohio. How you doing, sir? You're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Nick?
All is well, Art. Thanks.
Already. First thing first. I see Nicki Minaj every time I turn around. Nicki Minaj is going in. She's being tough on Don Lemon.
What's she been up to?
Huh?
What's she been up to?
I don't know, and I don't care at all. I literally don't care for sure. And I'm dead serious too. I just see the propaganda. Like you wasn't there at the start, so why would we care where you at right now? If you want to be a conservative, you a Republican now because you changed your views or whatnot, and you following traditional values, that's cool and all or whatnot. But you ain't about to muddy up the real conservatives in the Republican water. We keeping a clean slate over here. You see what I'm saying? And when I say that, I'm saying the ones who were there from the beginning. And I use Jesse for example. You see what I'm saying? One of the ones who was on the internet. So if I speculate that he was on the internet talking how he was talking, he would go out in the and when I say on internet, I mean showing his face, standing up. You know what I mean? To where if somebody got a problem with him or what he's saying, they gonna come pull right up on Jesse and say it to his face. Jesse's the only black man that I know that was standing up and speaking straight out for Trump at that time. But and I'm saying with the backbone. You see what I'm saying? Willing, to whatever comes with it. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of these whites, they might have voted for him, but guess where they was at? On quiet. They wouldn't come out and say they were supporting Trump because you know why? They were scared to be called racist. They would call it the silent majority. They were scared to silent, screaming, mumbling. I ain't hear none of them saying nothing. Did none of them saying nothing because they were scary. Just like I ain't hear nobody saying nothing when they had everybody running around here with masks and stuff. What's the Rockwell dude? Where was the Rockwell dude at then? Wasn't nobody talking about playing no Rockwell clips then. Everybody want to talk about Rockwell this and MLK that. Maybe you should have been listening to them with your little game day hype up tapes or whatnot, and then maybe you'd have ran out there and been like, hey, man, this don't make no sense. The math ain't math. And how am I out here touching money all day and I still ain't got COVID or whatnot? How are they playing the NFL huddling up and they ain't got COVID? Y'all wasn't even standing up for that. So, that's what I'm saying when I say about the Nikki. Oh, yeah, you want to come pop up when the table's all made up and stuff. And I don't got, but you went there when we was cooking. In the trenches. You went in the trenches. When it was unpopular. When it was unpopular. Because you know why? Because it was going to mess up your money. It was going to mess up your money. And you were scared for people to criticize you because you soft. And that ain't just directed at her. That's directed at and the ones, they know who I'm talking about. You all know who I'm talking about. I ain't talking about myself. Yeah. So, and I'm not knocking her. Yeah, just like I said, she can be a Republican, but what I need you to do is you calling it out, but you forgive her. You say you could be a Republican. We accept it, but hey, let's just call it what it is. Go ahead. Nah. Don't try to take the driver's seat. You need to get your butt in the hatchback of the trunk. Don't get up here in the front and try to act like you was down with the crew from the jump. Nah, you get your butt. We gonna open up the trunk in that little Mercedes SUV truck and put you in the back of the trunk and you can ride the whole ride that way. But you ain't gonna hop up in the front seat with RDR and JLP and act like you driving the car. Nah. Let alone that your husband is a convicted alleged pedophile and your brother. I don't know anything about that. I don't know where you got that. I don't know anything about that. That's a fact. That ain't no made up. That's what Art said. Art said it's a fact, not me. That's a fact. That ain't alleged. I'm saying alleged just to keep it clean, but what. Yeah. So, we don't need you to muddy up our waters or whatnot, man. Because first thing, any young kid or whatnot that don't know and they just trying to come into politics, they hear that and that'll make them turn away from the Bible. Turn away from the Republican Party. No different than a person would that turn away from the Bible if you hear people preaching stuff that they don't know what they talk about, sounding like hypocrites. Then a person that's just trying to figure out and learn the Bible, you're going to turn them off to want to know the Bible because they thinking that if you talking like how you talk and you a hypocrite, then the Bible must be fake. Nicki Minaj, I haven't seen her. I don't know if she's been acting a certain way lately or something. I know I saw her. What was it even? I'm forgetting what it was. But basically, she recently came out in support of Trump or something like that, no? Say that again? What is it about her? Because I forget what it is. Like, I haven't really been following what she's been doing, but I heard the big controversy or whatever is that she came out in support of Trump or of ICE, or what was it? I have no idea, but what would it matter? everything that she's just
Well, I
figuring
mean,
out.
it's, got you calling, talking. You're saying she shouldn't be so forward and in the front. Apparently, she's whatever happened.
She ain't say nothing. I'm just seeing how the propaganda is trying to push her out. Like her and Charlie Kirk's wife is the leader of the Republican Party. That's what I'm saying. I'm seeing the propaganda. You trying to horse them up. You trying to force them and make them somebody that everybody is following, and they ain't. They ain't the face of no Republican Party. That's what I'm saying. Quit trying to force and put people that ain't even really the faces of it. That's what I'm saying. It ain't nothing that she's particularly saying.
Yeah, because I wonder how she. I like how Trump works with people if they support him, and so it won't always be like a out of the gate. I don't know about you. You said this about me. Like, not always. Sometimes, maybe a little bit of that. But he's not like out of the gate like that. If they show support, he's like, all right, we'll shake hands. We'll see how this goes. I do like that about him. That being said, I do wonder, like, let's say, like, for example, I don't know if you've heard this, but you're familiar with people like Joe Rogan. Maybe you've heard the name Theo Vaughn. These are podcasters. They command big. They're comedians who became podcasters. They command big audiences. I think their audiences are pretty much center, kind of normie, and they are Trump. They voted for Trump. Lately, they've been saying, "Whoa, man, this ICE deportation stuff is a little too far." You know. Meanwhile, his like.
You asked me what I feel about them, or is that
I'm bringing that up to add to what you're saying, because Nicki Minaj, Erica Kirk, I feel like it might be similar. Let's say you bring up, hey, and yeah, you like, imagine for a moment you're in a room with them and you're like, and we love Trump, and they're like, yeah, and we got to deport illegals, yeah, and men should run their homes again. Crickets, all of a sudden, right? Like Nicki Minaj, Erica, suddenly silent. Like I do wonder how far their support goes.
Man, you know how far their support goes. You know how far their support goes. Just it ain't no different. I know how far Beyonce support goes and Cardi B support goes or whatnot when they was taking all that money or whatnot. You didn't go perform at Kamala's Kamala's thing down there in Houston for the free, for the FREE, for the free. You ain't go down there and do it for the Kamala for the free. So you don't really stand on which you don't believe in what she's putting out there. We ain't smelling with the Kamala's cooking. That's why you had to take the money. Yeah, so we
I
pretty
can't
much
judge art. I'm as far as I'm concerned, I'm a barb till otherwise.
Yeah. Nah, but and that goes for the gays too or whatnot, man. Y'all not Republicans, man. We don't got no problem with you calling yourself, but you really ain't no Republican. You really middle ground. You can't. That's like you saying you gay and you getting married. The Bible's against you being gay. You can't. That's a hypocrite. You can't be no Republican, be gay because you going against traditional values. You a hypocrite. That's what I'm saying. You can't play both sides. You can't play both sides at all. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, Art's gonna be on it the moment Nicki Minaj shows a crack in the armor and right, plays both sides. Because right now she's just like she's just pro Trump, right? So Art's on it. The moment she falters, I guess Art will know.
Well, yeah, that's true. No, but I'm just on it as far as the propaganda. Just like I seen in Minnesota, they got a whole bunch of these alleged Republican people, and I'm looking at them. They look softer than Charmin, and I'm like, man, most of these dudes and females look like butches and feminine boys, and I'm like, them ain't no Republicans. And I'm saying that they trying to force us a certain way, and at the end of the day, I'm seeing it like they playing that role because Trump is in office, but as soon as he out, you got a lot of these betas and these propagandists. It's gonna end up flipping right back. Everybody, Trump when it's looking good and everything's sweet. But as soon as crack or as something starts shaking, they gonna flip right back to them liberal progressives. You getting banned on YouTube, and we gonna take your account as soon as.
Because that's how they really are. Really,
that's how they really are.
They really
one more thing.
In many cases, they support this because they were like maybe turned off from woke, or they were turned off by something else. But they don't necessarily think like every other Trump supporter. and some of his staunchest supporters, I guess. But go ahead.
Yeah, nah, for sure. And I ain't gonna badmouth that Kirk woman or whatnot, but you know something ain't right in the water when her husband clearly said that he didn't mess with Nicki Minaj, and you go do some Adam and Eve stuff, and first thing you go do is go interview her. I don't care what she said.
Charlie said something about like he doesn't like her or something like that.
Yeah, he said something along them lines or whatnot. That's Adam. That's clearly why would you go? But you so you know I ain't gonna even. Man, she cool. That's why I said I'm not gonna go in and say too much. But that's the sign out there. That's the sign straight from God. You see what I'm saying? You going against, you doing the same thing that Adam and Eve, Adam or Eve did to Adam or whatnot. Well, you going against him. That's the same thing. When he said before he died that he didn't mess with her, when he died, that don't mean you go mess with him, mess with her.
Well, here's one thing you bring up that is for sure like it's like for sure an important thing. It's you bring up a good point on what these people kind of what most people even like, and really what we're talking about is like this wide tent that Trump has cast of supporters, and how many they really supporters are just liberals. Really, they're really liberals. They're really feminists, liberals, and you do bring up a good thing on that. That's for sure.
And let me say something about to your boy. What's that dude that was talking to Mark or whatnot? And I'm gonna try to save my little comment for Mark till Friday. But the dude, he was saying, was that not Ronnie, but a dude from Kentucky, or was that dude from Ohio?
I can't remember. Are you talking about my show?
Nah, on Hake's. But long story short, they did. I just want to go off something that he was saying or whatnot. Oh, ain't nothing gonna happen to the white people and this and this and this and that. Oh, if you integrate and let the foreigners come over. They just had a little study. I seen something on YouTube last night where they had a little thing where they set up a hotel thing, and they had a whole bunch of 125 Europeans. This was in Dutch. This is in the area was in Dutch.
Yep.
125 white Europeans. Then they had 125 foreign blacks or whatnot. Come to find out, the foreigners was in there raping the white women. And I'm making this point to say that ain't nothing ringing off in people's heads that mean, okay, so you mean to tell me none of the white dudes was standing up and keep preventing the black foreigners from sexually assaulting the white females and stuff? And I'm thinking in my head or whatnot, in my D- brain of mine, that I'm like, oh, that's that they got that. That's that jailhouse. If you ain't never been to jail, or you ain't, you might have seen it in school, but it's on magnifying glass when you in jail or whatnot. And it's the alpha mentality. What you had is you had 125 white betas, and you had 125, I say, beta blacks, but they were dominating. The beta blacks was dominating the whites, and that's that tank mentality to where if you got a whole bunch of betas, they just gonna let you get raped.
That's crazy, man. I heard about this too, and I'm trying to find out where it was and what it was, but it was a report. I think it was like an older report that it resurfaced and regained some virality over like a government program that paired migrants with families or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I saw this going around too. I was hoping I could find it.
Yeah. Well, no, I just go to say that is when I'm saying is that's exactly what happens when you don't have. If you'd have had somebody like Art in there and that it wouldn't have that wouldn't have happened. You see what I'm saying? But when you put all them betas in there like that, that's what ends up happening. You don't have nobody to stand up and be willing to fight and be like, hey, nah, y'all not about to be doing that, man. Hold up, what they over there doing? They over there, he look like he preying on that white girl. You got the betas, they in their phone, they looking at their phone. In the foreign blacks, they over there watching, and they can smell the fear in you, and that's why they was over there doing that. And then it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same thing that's gonna happen in America. But I'm gonna save my little point on that for tomorrow. Or what's today? Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
I think I'm gonna try to call Hake on Friday or whatnot, and my call gonna be directed towards Mark or whatnot. But I'll catch you later, Nick.
Thank you, Art. Call me again, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. 888-775-3773. I want to get right back to my calls here. Let me see here. I want to get right back to you. All these tabs, huh? You guys ever go tab crazy? Jeez. The poor RAM on this thing. Whew. But anyways, we were talking about many things there. One thing I like about what Art was ending off there with is how do I express this? Just like when you think about world issues and these things going on in the government, you think, well, there's like the factors, the precipitating factors that cause things, the cause and effect. You go through endless Wikipedia articles trying to piece it together, the economic thing or whatever. And it's like, just look at Carney. Just look at Mark Carney. Just look at Georgia Maloney. Just listen to them speak. And just get an idea of who they are, beyond the words, what motivates them. And you see why things are certain ways, right? You see like a weak, insecure guy backed up by another weak, insecure guy trying to put on sunglasses to look tough when the like actually tough guy is making things happen. Like it's like the world is people. The world is people. Anyways, look, more calls, 888-775-3773. Let's keep it running here. Folks waiting here patiently. Thank you. Says Justin out of SoCal. You're on the air.
Thanks for taking my call.
How you doing, sir?
All right. I was thinking about like Greenland and the topic about us acquiring it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah. So I was thinking like logically, well, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but like the Denmark, the European country, the Kingdom of Denmark does not necessarily occupy North America. They have like a territory that we saved them from World War II from the Germans. So pretty much
and gave it back to them.
Like Hawaii. Yeah, like Hawaii or Alaska, we could purchase it for billions of dollars or acquire it by force, but it's not something that the Europeans or even NATO should have a say in, right? Actually, since I think Davos today, Trump kind of talked about that too.
Yeah, he big time did. Basically said, we're going to take it. He said, essentially, no promises on military action. I think he even said something sort of like, he wants to avoid that. But that Greenland, we're going to acquire it.
Yeah, so is it part of North America, like that should be acquired by a North American country? Is it something that Europe has any kind of stake in, like
well,
to defend?
In my opinion, it goes like this. You have this alliance. It's called NATO. It's a little old. And if things were a little bit different, if the world looked a little bit more like Trump has been trying to push NATO towards, tell them, hey, you guys, I don't know if you remember Trump pressing on the NATO countries to increase the amount of money they put into their militaries, I believe. You see, NATO requires that the countries in the alliance follow certain stipulations. One of them is like how much military investment they have, something like that, right? And they've been way below, sitting around, happy because the U.S. is basically protecting them, running the world, and they've been fine for decades, just not having to meet any requirements. So if you remember, Trump was going hard on them back in his first term. And if the world looked more like, if NATO and the world looked more like this what the vision was, this like alliance of nations which were far more equal, and Europe handled its domain how it should. Really, U.S. handles all of it: the Middle East, the Suez Canal, the Arctic Circle, and they want to come out and play games and say, well, that's sovereign territory, we're going to fight you over it. Meanwhile, Carney's in the background saying, really, right away, there was no time at all, just right away, I'm working with China. What do you think about that? And it's like, if the world looked like how Trump was so trying to put it, then yeah, maybe there was this alliance can watch over Greenland, and they would have more of a say. They'd have more backing them up, saying, hey, we're the alliance that watches over Greenland, how we agreed on in NATO back in the day. But that's just not how it is. And that's just my opinion, but that's what Trump says too. And that's not how it is. U.S. runs it. That's the reality of it. We're dropping the pretense. We're putting the missiles there. We're putting the U.S. bases there. Done deal.
Yeah, I was like just looking a little bit at the Davos World Economic Forum speech, or and I was like thinking about what he was talking about with Denmark, how it fell to Germany in like 6 hours. So it's the United States alone, not China or Russia alone that can protect it against this giant piece of ice. But it's a strategic thing that probably should be acquired by our country, if any country.
It's what it's looking like. It's just sitting there. China and Russia have already made what's the word? Forays into the Arctic Circle. It seems, and this is just the Anchor Baby's opinion, it seems that China, in terms of soft power, has gone way beyond the Arctic Circle. Training military and training military. Literally, they're training military in Arizona and in Canada. That's literally how they're training fighter pilots. They got, and then their moves in South America and all that. So, it's sitting there. Yeah, we take it.
Yeah. So when we push back with Venezuela and we push back with, Greenland, how are we, how are we positioning ourselves in the future? Like you were talking in the beginning of the podcast about Agenda 21. I think you were talking about that. And like a lot of the World Economic Forum discusses things that like are at levels that are pretty much above most individuals that are workers. So we're looking at it like more like intelligentsia and the communist, countries like China. Putin has Russia, and there's Cuba and Venezuela. A lot of countries that are not aligning with our systems are kind of like punking us. So if they're already in the Arctic, they're already in the Caribbean, it's good to push them, I think, back, because a lot of people like me, I abstain from oil. Like I have a hydrogen car. I don't believe in a lot of wars. So, you can choose what you want to choose, but Putin funds his war in Ukraine with selling his oil. So if we confiscate a lot of these tankers and, reverse the punking and go back to Russia and push them back and, capture their vessels, I think what we're doing is there's like a restructuring, and we're redefining what North America's power is. And if they persist, more than likely they're going to lose, because they only infiltrate countries where they bribe them, like they give them money so that later they have a debt to repay. And I don't think there's a sustainable future for communism. And whether they infiltrate it with people like, whatever you want to call them, protesters, and they storm churches and they go in and out of police vehicles and they try to like take on the federal agents. These kind of communists will learn that America, we and the communists actually conquer the fascists. So we don't really need to have an influx of more non-pro-American, North American, whatever you want to call it, values. You know what I mean? Like freedom. Like we're the last beacon of hope in America. So I think there's no alternative with Maduro or China's dictator or Russia's dictator. What we have is more of like an alignment toward democracy and free trade. We have an alignment more toward opportunity and less investment from those that want to devolve the proletariat, the worker.
And you're saying that side that opposes Russia or whatever is like free trade and all that?
Yes.
Well, I mean that was basically the topic at hand. That was basically the key topic. It's what everybody's waiting with Trump to talk about at the World Economic Forum at Davos. That was what Mark Carney explicitly said. I don't know if you were watching all that, but he explicitly was saying it's the end of the rules-based order. The smaller nations have to make coalitions to, be up against the big guys, the bullies of the world, etc. And I think what we're seeing is I think what we're seeing, and this is just like my crude view of things, I think what we're seeing is actually a third thing. You're saying free trade stands in opposition to I don't know, the communism, I guess, because you also said communism defeated this, and I didn't know that. I heard that, but I don't know if it's true. But I think what's also happening is Trump is challenging
Capitalism
even
and
free trade
communism
itself.
defeated the fascists. Communism and capitalism actually defeated the fascists.
More on that in a moment, but I think what's happening is Trump is even challenging free trade as well. And I don't think in the way that the globe, like the carnies are saying, they're saying he wants to end all that, right? He wants to put up the tariffs. He hates the free trade world order, and he wants to upend it completely. I think it's more like, if you know anything about Trump, he's America first, and he's willing to trade and do deals and make it work, but it's got to work for America. But I don't think global trade is over. No, people are going to trade, okay? You're just crying. But yeah, Trump did challenge that, in my opinion. I think that's why it was such a topic at Davos. He's challenging, they're calling it protectionism, right? It's like protectionism, which is opposite from free trade that we're used to. But yeah, I mean, he's really shaking things up, and they're not happy about it. They stood up and the New York Times called it a rare standing ovation at Davos. I saw them stand for Trump when he came in, to be fair, but they apparently they called it a rare standing ovation when they stood up and clapped for Mark Carney and his big speech about, hey, U.S. being kings is ending, huh, guys? Let's clap it up, right? It's like, damn.
Well, I got to check it out more. I didn't see the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah,
but
man.
I think the Prime Minister of Canada, whoever's in charge of Denmark, they're definitely listening to a new way of thought.
We're watching it. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate your call. Anything else you want to say here before we move the wheels?
I would just say Trump 28,
True say?
Yeah.
Nice. Right on, man. Call me again.
Thank you.
Oh, I forgot to ask him about capitalism and communism teamed up to defeat fascism. I heard some of y'all say stuff like that, but that's just like the internet wignats, right? They're just right. They don't know anything about Hitler. They're not in a real way, right? Anyways, 888-775-3773. More calls here in a sec. But what else? Look, there was, I guess, something else going on maybe domestically in terms of news. And then I just got like fun stuff and just like cultural things here. I mean, are things heating up for Waltz, Ilhan Omar, all that fraud? Million. This Nick Shirley guy, that guy, he made that video in Minnesota, showing some very guilty looking people in very strange business setups, and he just was asking them and wondering, I'm seeing public records that show you have in some cases, millions in taxpayer money. These forms say that you have hundreds of kids. I'm here at an office. It's a hole in the wall. There's nobody. It's all boarded up. The sign is misspelled. It's a Leering Center. You're familiar with this. I see him in interviews. I just see him every now and again, and I get a good impression of the guy again. I guess what is that? Impressions? That maybe call me shallow. I get a good impression of the guy. He ends up being terrible. Like, I don't know, but I get a good feeling of the guy. Like, he seems like a young guy. Just, I don't know how to put it. There's something Charlie Kirk about him that I like, I gotta say. And I don't know how else to put it. Anyways, he's like at the lawmakers are in fact questioning him over this Minnesota fraud. The House Judiciary Committee, they brought him in. You know, they've been talking to a number of people. I heard they subpoenaed Tim Waltz and others. I got the article here in a sec. They're investigating Jacob Frey. I keep forgetting. It's Fry, I'm pretty sure. And they're saying the walls are closing out. I don't know. But, you know, they are doing like investigations, subpoenas. What will happen with Ilhan Omar, Jacob Frey, Tim Waltz? I mean, it just seems like the walls are closing in, I guess. I saw him. Now, I'm not going to play this whole thing, but I did see Nick Shirley here. Just kind of his opening here, just sitting here for this House Judiciary Committee. And it really is fascinating, right? Hearing him talk, describe what happened. I mean, he just a guy, he's just filming this stuff, got some info, filmed it himself. Did he reveal fraud? No, I mean, he just was a guy with a camera showing up saying, hey, this looks weird. And it looked really weird, to the point where now they're investigating it. They're circling the wagons on the governor of Minnesota. And they're looking real guilty. I mean, that's what it took. I mean, there's a number of things to say about it. That's what it took. How deep does it go? Where's the corruption? And just thinking about these things as he's speaking, right?
I'm here today to speak on behalf of all hardworking, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens here inside of the United States. I've helped bring to light widespread fraud that's happening inside our nation, and we the people have had enough of our hard-earned money going towards fraudsters as if it's no big deal. As I speak here, I want to ask everyone a question. How much do we trust when we pay our taxes it's going to benefit our nation? People erupted during the Boston Tea Party over just a few percentages as they believed they were being taxed without representation. Nowadays, we have the representation, but do we trust our representatives? My name is Nick Shirley, and I made a 41-minute video that I posted on platforms like X and YouTube. My video received over 100 million views, and it created instant change within our government. As the federal government launched investigations and departments such as Health and Human Services froze over $185 million in child care funding until businesses can prove they are legitimate businesses. I actually became aware of the fraud that was happening in Minnesota in June of 2025 as I was there for a separate video in Minnesota and started reaching out to me, asking me if I was making a video on the fraud. I said, well, what fraud? And
wow, so citizens reached out to him. Like this is like this was just like known, maybe. I heard. I mean, in the video, there was some guy who, an older individual, seemed to have collected a lot of data that worked with Nick Shirley there.
Real estate agent, and she says, well, I'm having a hard time selling my properties because people are curious about these assisted livings that are popping up next door to some of the houses that we're buying or the home health care clinics that are popping up, and we don't know who's next to these houses that we're trying to sell. And I said, well, I'm not going to come and make a video if I don't have any proof. So therefore, I left Minnesota, and I continued to look for fraud in the best way I could. And as I was getting my own information, a man by the name of David reached out to me, and he said, hey, I have been investigating this fraud for years now. I have been driving by these child care centers. I've never seen a single child, and I have received the information from the state of Minnesota as to how much money these places are receiving. I said, great, let me come to Minnesota and we'll make.
And then that's the story, right? And then it's history. But it's just an interesting thing. Justice Department to interrogate Tim Waltz and 4 other top Minnesota Democrats. It's just subpoenas, okay? It's just subpoenas. We're just going to ask some questions. But they just look so... Is it just appearances? I mean, they just circled the wagons. You remember this. I already played this for you, I think.
Well, Congresswoman, thank you, and everybody else.
It was this woman and like 14 others.
Governor Tim Walz in Minnesota. We are so excited that we have 28 members of Congress from all over the country here.
What is it that they're defending, right? I mean, it's just on the surface, you'd be like, well, yeah. I mean, he's defending. They're Democrats. They're the same team. They're defending against Trump, and he's being attacked. But you just like peel it back for a second. Just peel it back. You're like, what's happening? I mean, fraud was uncovered. That's a fact. Are you for fraud? Well, okay, it was uncovered, and now it's being investigated. They're not saying you're going to jail. They're subpoenaing you to ask you questions because you were the governor. So what is it that they're defending, right? It's like it just begs the question, like, we're circling the wagons because, we love our immigrants and ICE. How dare you? But then nothing's... And stay out. Leave them alone. But wait. What are you defending here? You jumping the gun, right? Don't you think? Like, jumping the gun a little bit. But anyways. Don't know if it'll heat up. They're saying it's heating up. The walls are closing in. We got Mark out of Los Angeles. I appreciate your call, Mark. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. I wanted to thank Artie Art for his kind words. I did see that study. They tried to suppress it. The one, the Dutch did.
It was a Dutch thing, like a.
Yeah, from what I saw on TV, and it was just like Art said. They were raping our women and showing themselves for the savages that they are, and it was suppressed. That experiment was suppressed by the Dutch government because they didn't want the truth to come out. And you notice there's a pattern with leftists. Whenever there's a mass shooting, or even Martin Luther King and his FBI files, they don't want to release the truth about the white hatred that these people have. Talking about the creature in Tennessee that killed the kids, that the trans person, it was a woman trying to play man, and she killed those children at Tennessee Christian school.
Yeah.
And when they finally snuck out her diary, she was a dedicated white hater. She went after those kids because they were white and Christian. Martin Luther King,
I reported on that.
Right. And then with King, and the FBI investigation showed that he was a racist, anti-white. He only wanted mixing so that he could dilute our race. And he was a communist. He didn't believe in the divinity of Jesus. They used Christianity, the communists did, to get the civil rights movement going. And Martin Luther King was their leader in that perverted movement because he's not a Christian. The communists, I don't know if you heard my debate on Hake today, but
no.
I mentioned that, the communists were behind the civil rights business even before World War II. But after World War II, they felt emboldened to push their evil because they had defeated our one guy in Germany. So now
help me understand that. How were they in the business of civil rights or whatever before the World War?
Oh, there was a civil rights movement before World War II, but it wasn't successful because the whites were still a majority and we were wise to what their game was. But after World War II and the defeat of National Socialism, the Jews and their stormtroops, the Negroes, felt, emboldened to push the civil rights movement to where we're at the point today where it's not safe for white people to walk on their own streets. And if I could, I don't mean to get off topic, but I don't want to forget this. And I hope Hake is listening.
I don't know where he's getting some. I don't know where sources and stuff, folks. But go ahead.
About what now? What source do you need?
I don't necessarily need it. I'm just disclaiming for the sake of the channel.
Oh, okay. No, anybody could look it up. There was a civil rights movement. I think the NAACP started in somewhere around 1915. Not sure on the exact year, but you could say that there was an effort before Martin Luther King to mix the races. But after the defeat of World War II, that's when they integrated our army. I think it was 1948, not sure on the year, but I know it was after World War II. But I do want to get this point out before I forget. I want to say if Scam Bondi, the Attorney General, doesn't arrest Don Lemon and Antifa scum that went into that Christian church. If she doesn't have them arrested by the end of the week, she's a fraud, and she needs to be fired. She hasn't done anything. I'm talking about Pam Bondi, the Attorney General. She hasn't done anything. Don Lemon should have been arrested the next day. There's all kinds of evidence out there. I've seen it on the internet where he was plotting with these fellow communists to invade this church under the assumption that the church preacher was with ICE. Well, more power to him if he was. But my point is...
So they had planned it beforehand, so there's even more evidence of him planning this beforehand type thing.
Yeah, they videotaped themselves in a car. I saw it this morning before they went into the church. And they were talking about what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. It violates the FACE Act. It's a federal felony to do what they did. Bondi could arrest him today, but you know where she was on Sunday? Do you know where she was on Sunday?
No.
When this church was invaded? She was speaking to AIPAC, telling the Jews how she's going to root out anti-Semitism through censorship. That's her big, bold plan, to come after anybody that questions the Holocaust or questions our support for Israel.
That's what she said?
Yeah, I heard her say it. They showed it on a competitor's show. She was talking to AIPAC, and she was telling them we're going to root out anti-Semitism and all. Anti-Semitism, for the audience, means that you're against Israel and you don't believe there was a Holocaust. That makes you an anti-Semite in Bondi and others and people like her's mind. So, yeah, I just
It's funny because you pick like the most controversial things. You said, you know what makes you anti-Semite? Can you believe this? You know what makes you an anti-Semite? Being opposed to Israel and not believe. You like picked the most controversial things. I felt like you were about to say something more like, you know what makes you an anti-Semite in these people's eyes? Like if you just barely make a joke about them. It's like, what the? You went with the most controversial things.
Yeah, listen, but if you question her, but what I'm trying to say is her priorities are to go and help Israel and forget about the white Christians who were attacked on Sunday. And like I say, if they don't arrest these scumbags, Don Lemon included, by the end of the week, she should be fired. They should fire her. She's weak. She has no backbone. She's not. I don't know. She's a Fox News person. She thinks she's a host on Fox News. She goes on Hannity's show and rants and raves and does nothing. She's really a disgrace. Wow. I call her Scam Bondi. Like I said,
nothing, Scam Bondi.
Yeah, if she doesn't arrest these preachers, then she's not doing her job. And also Walsh, Pry, Omar, and Ellison, the Attorney General, the racist white hater, whose son is a member of Antifa and who himself has donated to Antifa. He's the so-called Attorney General. So you have a totally corrupt state. We should do the Insurrection Act, arrest all those swine, and crush the anti-ICE protesters. Anyone that throws a snowball or attempts to hurt an ICE agent should be shot on sight. I praise the officer that shot the demon in the face last week. He did the country a service. She was demonic in every sense of the word, married to a so-called woman. They tortured their children. And then she thinks she's a hero by hassling cops. Well, she
came down on her. Look, she brought it on herself, and you could look. I've heard others say stuff like that, and look, I could understand their zeal and all that. I almost feel the need to. Maybe I'm being mama and be like, well, you really don't even need to go that far. You don't need to. The law is emotionless, and the law operated as it should. She went up against the law, and the law is supposed to win here. I mean, we should want the law to win, and in this case, when the law wins, people are dead. You know, it could be emotionless, but hey, I wanted to comment on some of the things you were saying. I mean, you brought up so many interesting things. I mean, look, you were saying about Pam Bondi. You know, it makes me think about something even Art was bringing up. Really, the fact is, most people are just not serious. I mean, look, I think even the people around Trump and all that, it's like, yes, it's time to be America first. Yes, it's time to get rid of illegals. It's time to care about Christianity, the traditional values of America. But I swear, the moment any challenge comes up, it's like, actually, no, what we really believe is censoring people. You can't offend people. You're not allowed to offend people. And every group that's not white, we're going to try and what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? You know, we're going to try and be diplomatic with them and try and schmooze them. We're going to schmooze literally every group, just like the left, just like the liberals, just like the Democrats. We're trying to get something from every group except white people.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's just a lot of not serious people.
Think about this, Nick. Right now, the blacks are 13% of the U.S. population. They're committing the vast majority of violent crimes, and they hate white people, and they admit it. Most of them will come out. I see it on TikTok and on other platforms where they come out openly and tell us that they hate us. So what's going to happen when we become 13% of the population, or even less than 50%? We're dead. Our votes won't matter. No politician is going to care about us. And the Negroes are going to have their Keith Ellisons and what's that stupid fool that's the mayor of Chicago? Those kind of characters are going to run the government. It's going to be chaos. We're going to lose our rights. We'll probably go broke. And then the final straw will be when they try to kill us. That's the plan. That's what they want to do. They won't openly admit it because they're not. Some do. Actually, some do.
That's true.
There are some black people that are admitting they want to genocide us. But those are the few and far between that are honest. But that's the goal. They're like, as I heard one of your competitors say, they're like an evasive species. They were brought here, and they don't get along like with an evasive species like a weed or a plant. It kills the other plants around it. Okay, they don't allow that into the U.S. Border and Customs will eliminate certain kinds of plants and shrubbery that kill other plants and shrubbery. Well, it translates into humanity too. When you import the third world, you become the third world. That's true. I just can't see how white people, like those low-life scumbags in Minneapolis, are out there protesting to protect rapists, third world colored people that hate us. They're evil. I mean, they're demonic in nature. Like the one that was shot in the face, she's burning in hell now. You don't have to be, I'm not being judgmental. It's so obvious that she was evil.
Are you glad she died?
Yeah, I'm glad. I cheered. I cheered when she died.
On.
Oh, yeah. I wish they would have took the wife out, too. I wish they would take out everybody that's trying to impede ICE. We have to use brute strength. The only way to overcome force
you don't have to kill these people.
Is with superior
just arrest them and be real tough.
Yeah, but in Minneapolis, the judiciary is pro-criminal. They had a Somali who they convicted of fraud. The jury convicted him within a day, and the communist judge, who was probably on the take, she dismissed the verdict and let the guy walk. That's judicial system in Minneapolis. The left knows if they can infect the judiciary and the educational system, they can make an influence. They don't have the numbers at this time to take over. That could change, though. But for right now, they do have the lock on the educational system and the judiciary, and that's dangerous. Now, the Supreme Court...
It's just my thing is, no, I totally agree. And look, in many ways, we have states that like oppose the executive, and you bring up like the Insurrection Act. Against, in some ways, in certain perspectives, the only way out, I guess, of this, for example, is like the executive comes in, brings in like military or something. Like, I don't know what. I mean, these people are challenging ICE, the mayors, and sort of saying we're going to arrest ICE. Like, yeah, something might have to happen in a big way, but in my worldview, that's still the law. That's still the law, and there's no need for me to be like, there's no requirement for me to say, well, I'm wishing violence on people. Like, I'm not wishing violence on Renee Good. The violence, but the violence has to come down on those that it should, and it's coming from what? The law. And that's just how that's what I think we should be. That's just what I think our position should be, because I mean, we shouldn't be like F anyone. We shouldn't be like wishing violence on anyone. I mean, not only is it not very Christian, but I mean, on top of that, it's just strategically. Think about it.
Listen
to this guy, Mark. We got to come down on white people harder than ever now.
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing anyway.
No, of
I
course,
didn't
I agree
say
with
I
that.
wish death on her. No, what I said was when it happened, I was glad. I didn't wish for it to happen, but when it did happen, I cheered. The only way to overcome force and suppression is with superior force and superior suppression. If he does the Insurrection Act, no judge can intervene. No, it's not up for judicial review if Trump does the Insurrection Act. So none of these Marxist judges are going to be able to stop what we want to do. And I would make Minnesota the what would you call it, the petri dish of how to defeat communism. I would make it so hard on them, they're going to vote for the Republicans just to get the pressure off them. Most of them are mentally disturbed. Most of them hate white people. They're sick with guilt. I'm talking about the protesters in Minnesota. Anybody that would defend illegal alien rapists and criminals that has white skin is a total race traitor.
I mean, anyone that does that is a traitor of society, is a traitor of of order itself, of the life you wish to hold on to, whatever aisle you stand on, and whatever your way of life is. I mean, that's a person that hates that. Okay, and they're then enemy to that.
Yes. But the good news is, I think
that's why I appreciate Trump. I think they're doing it law and order. I like their style. But anyways, you had a final thing to say.
I was just going to say, yeah. Well, if this is the last statement I want to make is, I really want to thank Hake for playing clips of Rockwell. That took a lot of guts, and I truly, truly appreciate what he did. And I hope people who saw that or who never had heard of him at least know that we did have somebody way back in the 50s and 60s that knew about black fatigue before the rest of the country caught on. Because back then we didn't have internet, YouTube. We weren't able to show the savages in action. We weren't able to show black criminality back in the 60s like we can today. But there were people that were ahead of their time, like the Commander Rockwell and many others, who saw what these people were capable of and tried to warn us. That's why he's been canceled from history. You won't hear about Rockwell except on the internet, which, again, is a good thing. But with if the left takes over this country, all those videos are going to be shut down. Your show will probably be shut down because they hate what you say, what I believe in. They just can't do it now. The biggest hero to me, more than Trump, is Elon Musk. Elon Musk is who opened X up. And since he did that, the other platforms like Facebook and YouTube, they've become a lot better on not censoring us conservatives and right-wingers.
How do you
know?
But
that was all.
Yeah. Well, look, heard, your comments heard. I think James heard it. Two things that came to mind, then we got to go.
Thank you.
Which is not even a comment on what you were saying about Rockwell. I was just thinking about what you were saying about Hake. You said it was a lot of courage for him to play that video, and I don't know. Maybe James listening. I don't know. Look, maybe I'm the one who has the wrong impression of him. I feel like you have just a funny impression of him. This is a strange thing. Maybe you should be talking to him about this. But it's just
You're talking about Hake?
Yeah. I gather you have this impression of him. That it took courage for him to play that. Like, that's just not how I see him. Like, I don't think it cost him. Maybe I got a wrong impression of him. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it cost him. I don't think it cost him to play that video. I think he was doing it for you guys, and it was like the audience.
Yeah.
Someone super
I
chatted
think most people appreciated it. I didn't hear any.
I don't think he was scared of playing it, but anyways, that's just me. And
Would
then
you play him?
You said what?
Would you put Rockwell on your show?
Put him on. I think he's dead. Isn't he dead?
I'm talking about a tape of him.
I played all sorts of clips. I'm not afraid of it, okay? But I think maybe I share this with James. Like, if someone asks me to and really, really wants to, and it's like so emotionally activated by it, I almost don't even want to. But anyways, that's a different thing. Listen,
yeah.
And then what else did I think? Because I gotta let you go, Mark. I forgot. Mark, thanks for your call. Call me again.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 888-775. Oh. Some of y'all wanted to maybe ask Mark a question. Maybe next time. If Mark welcomes it, and I think he does, I'll let you get on with him next time. Apologies. and then I'll moderate it, okay? Things start getting out of control. I don't know. I might have to handle it, but look, my callers who wanted to ask him a question, we'll do it next time. But I'm trying to remember what other thing I was going to say. There's so much interesting. Let's move on. Moving on. I can't remember. Rich out of Germany, heard around the world. Shout out. How you doing, Rich? Appreciate your call. You're on the air.
Happy New Year, Nick.
Back at you, sir.
Hey, I know I'm a little late to the game because there were a few more categories, topics that were brought up.
Hey,
I just
no problem
wanted
at all.
to bring up NATO. But before
Nice.
I do, Ezekiel 18:32, and I was not Bible Thump Thursday or anything like that, but God says, "For I have no pleasure in the death of the dying," says God Almighty. So repent and live. So I'll leave it at there. Now, in other words, no, he has no delight in the demise of the wicked. So
That's what. Oh, that's in the. Tell me that one again. Ezekiel what?
Ezekiel 18:32. Now it can be paraphrased as, "The Lord does not delight in the demise of the wicked," but he himself told Ezekiel, "I, the Lord, do not delight in the death of those who are dying."
Wow, there you go.
So, yeah.
He's unmoved by such things. He knew it was going to happen. He's like, look at you, you're wicked. You're dead already. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, but God does not share in that. Anyway, but I understand where that is coming from. Anyway, nonetheless, so I live, probably said this before, several minutes from Ramstein Air Base here in Germany. Doxed, but I retired from there in 2017. I did get a chance, while I was a contractor after retiring, I was a contractor, I was a training specialist, and I got to work with NATO. And just for your audience's edification, on the American side of NATO, you have LANDCOM, which is your land component, your infantry, artillery, cavalry. Then you'll have your MARCOM, your maritime, your naval, okay? Then you have your SOFCOM, your special ops. And then you have your Air Component Command, or AIRCOM, which is where the headquarters of AIRCOM is located. This is public knowledge. I'm not, nailing anything classified. So working with them, it's interesting. And one of the colonels that I worked with, an American gentleman who since retired, I won't name him, he had told me one thing. He said, look, Rich, NATO is this. It's 32 countries. And when you look at it as 32 children and you ask all of them what they want for dinner, imagine that. 32 children. You ask them what they want for dinner, you're going to get different answers. Now, he also stated this, and I was training people those who were new to headquarters, USAFEF Africa, and that's the United States Air Forces in Europe, United States Air Forces in Africa. It's two combatant commands. So, said that it's not that everybody in NATO or all 32 countries, Denmark being the most recent from 2024, it's not that they all have to say yes. It's just that no country can say no. No one country. So if you have 31 that say, hey, cool, we'll do this. Mm-hmm. We'll defend this airspace, or we'll defend this land here against, especially with like Turkey and Erdogan. But if one country says, no, we're not doing that, then nothing's going to happen. Now, that's the military side. That's the United States side of it with the MARCOM, the LANDCOM, AIRCOM, etc. When you look at NATO, I think at this right now, I think it's like somewhere 50,000 civilians, pretty much politicians, bureaucrats, etc. You've got your leads, you've got your country leads, you've got your delegates, but you also have your military aspect. But NATO is not a military entity in and of itself. It's just a way, a venue that all these countries come together, not to be misunderstood in contrast to the UN, which are a military component in and of itself. NATO is not. It's just the way that everybody comes together and decides things. Now, in the case of Norway, or I'm sorry, not Norway, Denmark, okay? Look at Greenland. Now, the U.S. has been using that place. There's an air base called Thule. It's Thule. I've not been there, but it's not a lot of people over there. Okay, there are maybe a couple of villages. However, America has been there for a very long time, since likely right after World War II. So, you take a look at why the U.S. is using it. Okay, like Iceland, Keflavik and Reykjavik, Iceland. This is no mystery. This is all open source. It's a large radar entity. Okay, it's the same thing with Greenland. When you control the Arctic, you're going to control the air. You're going to control the maritime. Not so much the land, obviously, but when this is Denmark's only poker chip, if you will. It's their last poker chip. This is all they have, okay? But they charge the U.S. a little bit of money for using that land, even though it's in defense of Denmark. So they get a little cutback. So when President Trump says, hey, NATO hasn't been paying their fair share, he's been saying that for almost 10 years now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the Western European countries, they have been lied to largely on another false religion called environmentalism. Okay, so a lot of their money goes to these green initiatives. So they don't have the money to give in defense of not only their own countries, but in their share of defense against characters like Russia and China. So whether President Trump, we annex this or not, we'll still be using it. But it's a play for these countries to push money. This is classic art of the deal, my friend. Okay, it's a brilliant move. All right, but with NATO, again, there's a few articles in there. Article 5, okay, an attack against one is essentially attack against all. The only time it was enacted was on 9/11, and it was enacted by the British, okay, who stated, okay, they attacked our American allies, whoever they are, Al-Qaeda, and then that started the two wars that we had for 20 years. But that's just just wanted to give a little brief history for edification for your listeners there.
Interesting, man.
And, yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, but it's also...
You think Trump is, like, when he says, like, we got to own it to really protect it? So I get it. We have bases there, and it's like, essentially, Denmark owns it or not. I mean, U.S. is still running things, and we have bases there. Do you believe Trump when he says, no, but we have to own it to really protect it? Like, it does these little documents.
Well,
it just
that's
does, all
true,
that does not matter. Look at how Europe runs things. They clearly don't care. So U.S. has to run it because that's...
Who are they protecting it from? Exactly. It's not like China's going to invade. Russia might, but that's a naval standoff at best. Air component as well, okay? But Greenland, again, you're looking at a massive array of radar bases and early warning systems for movement. When you look at NATO, in and of themselves, there's like 31, this is who they track, including commercial airlines. They track over 31,000 flights a day, my friend. So there's a lot going on there, in this. I'd like to get into a little further, but I just want to not get into classification.
Yeah, no, I'm following. I mean, you mentioned you said a lot's going on there, talking about Greenland, and you mentioned the the U.S.'s position there, essentially. Yeah, okay, I got you, man. I mean, China, they call themselves a near-Arctic state. I don't know if you've heard them talking about this. They have investments in Greenland, like already, like now. the Kavan.
It's possible because they have a lot of
they have the
investments in
Kavan.
Africa.
They got I don't know how to pronounce Kavanfjeld Rare Earth Project. That's a Chinese firm. That's a Chinese firm that's in Greenland right now. But anyway, so there is activity there. I agree with you. There's activity there, and
they're quote
not just
contractors, end quote. Yeah, they're quote contractors, end quote. So what they do is the same thing that they've been doing with the continent of Africa. You look at the ports, especially on the eastern side, in Kenya and whatnot. They have not. They started out. The Chinese had started out saying, "Okay, we will rent your ports." Now we're going to go ahead and make a deal to improve your streets and infrastructure. Here's the thing. It's a continual debt that these African nations will never be able to pay off because the Chinese, when they build it, they also maintain it. They're not hiring the locals to do the roads, as in the cases with Djibouti. That's a country, and I'm not saying about a part of your body. But there is also Kenya. There's Kenya. Not so much the Sahel region, which is Central Africa, but again, slowly moving in. And they've been doing that for the last couple of decades. They have a vast influence in Africa, starting to show on the even on the west side in some countries, but very rarely. I remember taking a boat ride, and I'll let you go after this because it kind of reminds me of some great times I've had. I was a contractor. It took, I think, 2 flights or 3 flights commercial and 1 boat ride down a peninsula in a marsh to get to a base in Kenya. Before we got there, probably about 10 minutes before we landed on the dock on this little skipper boat, saw all these connexes, these big storage containers. It was all in Hangul. It was all in Chinese. And it's like, they're contract companies. They're companies, but they're keeping tabs on all the other countries in Africa, including America. So
So you support taking Greenland?
I absolutely do. Because it keeps us from having to, we're basically, in essence, we've been renting space there. Okay? We've been renting space there in Greenland for radar use, not renting the radars, but renting the space to do so. Okay? And that's really what it comes down to. All President Trump is doing is saying, look, okay, if he wants to do the tariffs, great. That's a chess move, right? But with Greenland, if we take it, great. But the Kingdom of Denmark, and I've been to Denmark. I've been to Aalborg and other little cities here because I've lived here for 13 years in Western Germany, or Western Europe, Western Germany. It's lovely. People are great, but they are really apathetic. They're really ambivalent about even though their own politics. But they have, whenever I would talk to folks, not the military folks, but just getting the atmospherics whenever I was traveling in there before we were inspecting a base, we'd talk to locals. Hey, how are you? Oh, great. You're American. Oh, great. And then all of a sudden it turned to, we don't like your president. We don't hate him. We just don't like him. Okay, great. What do you don't like about him? Next thing you know, 3 or 4 more dames are coming in, enjoying the conversation. And
Rich, I got to go here. Go ahead. Finish up.
Oh, sorry, brother. Anyway, it's not important. It was just a story about Denmark. It's just they don't have a power move here. This is U.S. is for the taking. If he takes it, great. If
and
not,
Denmark, really, they're acting in their self-interest, so to speak. I mean, it's almost expected. I mean, they have some historic, they have some historic claim to it, whatever. And it's an economic resource. America's paying rent, so that's money going to Denmark. I mean, they're really acting in their self-interest to want to hold on to it. I mean, it's a matter of rationale to me.
And
the rationale that Trump brings it makes more sense. Look, I don't care. Yeah, you want to keep your rent, but we're keeping China out. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. It's about protection. We might as well be there first before either 2 of those other countries do. But thanks for taking my call, Nick.
Of course, man. Rich. Call me again, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And thank you, Derek and Kurt and Jim and JLP. Love you guys.
Back at you, sir. Call me again. 888-775-3773. What the look at the time. All these calls and your support, folks. Thank you so much. I'm gonna get to all of you. In fact, I want to keep going my calls here. Look at all of you. In a moment here, I'm gonna get right to you. Thank you, Walk and Roscoe. Appreciate your super chat and your support. Says heading to bed soon. This was earlier, in fact. This was a while ago. Says, good evening from this American across the pond. Have a kick butt show, brother. Shout out to the Snake Pit. Love y'all. Richard in Germany. What? Is that him right there? Was that the same Rich you just called me? A big salute to this American across the pond, man. Shout out to you. Amazing. Okay, thank you so much. All the support over there on Rumble. My monthly supporters, how you doing? Thank you for supporting. That's deep. And buymeacoffee.com/anchor, baby. Always, that's an avenue to support as well. Thank you so much. The word of the Lord came to me. What do you people mean by quoting this proverb about the word of the Lord came to me? What do you people mean by quoting this proverb about the land of Israel? The parents eat sour grapes, and the children's teeth are set on edge. As surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, you will no longer quote this proverb in Israel. For everyone belongs to me, the parent as well as the child. Both alike belong to me. The one who sins is the one who will die. I'm sorry, that was Ezekiel, but not the verse that he just told me. Still, fascinating words from the Bible, no? Smoke on that. I want to get back to my callers here. I was going to tell you about Tyrese Gibson. I mean, you know about him. I don't know. You might have seen him on the JLP show at that rap concert with Jasmine Crockett. I mean, I just wanted to make this commentary about, like, this man who was initially, you know him from that video, and say, oh, what more do you want from me? Man, we'll have to talk about it tomorrow, but it's a spiritual battle, man. Mama still rules. Do you see it? Maze out of Dayton, Ohio. How you doing, Maze? I didn't get to put you on there earlier.
I was listening to Mark with that stupidity that's coming out of his mouth. Now, the North and the South fought each other, didn't they?
In the Civil War, right?
Yes, and he's still having that problem, but he don't have nothing to say about that.
He's having what problem?
Brother against brother. That's what was going on with the North and the South. So what we're looking at now is brother against, they call themselves Democrats and Republicans. It's brother against brother, and we don't have nothing to do with it. And then he going to talk about the black people are 13% of the population. How long has that been? That's because who said so? He was back there with Bull Connors, George Wallace, and all that group of people, because he said one of his friends that blew that church up with them little girls in it, that he had wrote a book. Mark was his friend. So, and then he going to say he's rejoiced over somebody being killed? That makes no sense.
Mark was whose friend?
Sound like people, huh?
Mark was whose friend?
One of the guys' friends that blew up the church in Birmingham with those little young black girls in it.
Are you just, I got to say, you went so fast. You went so fast. I thought you were saying, you went so fast, it almost seemed like you were just making one of your comments where it's like, you're just trying to insult him or something. Are you saying he was literally friends with someone like that? Like, I just don't.
That's what he said.
He said that?
He got done about it. Here's what he got to say.
Look, audience.
Yeah.
The opinions and stuff brought up by my callers don't mean that I don't even know what she's saying, but go ahead.
Okay, let me finish. And so when I hear him talking about somebody raping somebody, what is Sally Hemings? How did she get those kids that she had?
Who? Wait a second.
Or Robert E. Lee, how did he get kids that don't look like him? Who started that mess?
Robert E. Lee has kids that don't look like him?
I know Robert E. Lee's granddaughter.
And you say why? Why do you say that happened that way?
Back in those days, he always talking about biracial, and he always talking about mixed races.
Uh-huh.
So where did the mixed races come in? I'm quite sure that the Africans didn't mix race with anybody.
You said quite sure?
Huh?
You said quite sure, so you're not totally sure?
They
so it's possible that black people back then just mixed with white people?
That's not what I said.
So why do you think it happened?
Raped somebody and somebody killed somebody.
So that's the only way that biracial people could have been made in America?
Biracial didn't get started by the Africans, did they? I'm talking about Robert E. Lee got some.
It sounds like you're not sure. It sounds like you don't totally know.
Thurman got some. All of these people that supposedly hating black people, they got babies bound. How did
Was
that
it
happen?
possible they just made babies?
They did make babies. That's why
Right,
they're
but
here.
was it possible it wasn't rape and it was just people making
Oh,
babies?
really? Yeah, right. Was it possible?
You said, oh, really? Yeah, right? So it sounds like you don't know, Maze.
You trying to make it look pretty?
I'm not trying to make it look. I'm asking you. It
Oh,
sounds
yeah,
like, and
you
it
trying
sounds
to
like you don't
What are you
know.
talking about? Look pretty.
It sounds like
He
you
got
don't
the
know. So no white person married black people.
I'm asking you
Back in the day.
how do he feel about what they did?
Maze, they literally married them.
They were not married.
Huh?
Married who?
That happened in history.
I'm saying Sally Hemings, Robert E. Lee, Bill Clinton, and some more. Strom Thurmond had black kids. But you
Let's
hate
clear.
black
Let's
people.
make it. Let's just
Call them
clear it up for the
savages.
folks. You're saying that how biracial people were created in America is only through rape, right? You're saying through rape. That's what you're saying, right? That's what you're trying to say.
It was through something. Was it willing? They were not married to him.
Okay, I'm just gonna let the audience just smoke on it
And
because you
some of
guys
them
gotta
were
know that's
slaves.
ridiculous on his face.
That Bill Clinton was not the one Bill had wasn't a slave.
I've literally seen family
What about the one
trees.
that
I've literally
Thurman
seen
was
like
not a slave?
old
We
American
hate
family
those-
trees, and they have the pictures of them, and they're sitting there. You know how they sat back then? They didn't smile for those pictures; they just sat there. And I literally seen family trees where it's like a black woman, and she didn't look like she was forced to sit for that family tree photo. She looked like she was part of the family tree.
Really?
Yes,
the man-
really.
what they-
Yes,
what they
really.
looked like was they were part of the family.
And it
But
wasn't
you-
rape.
But when Mark wanted to talk about violence, he need to go to the North and the South.
You
A
said
brother
what?
fought brother. So he want to talk about how violent people are. That's where he need to go and start and tell us about that.
You said what?
That's history he need to explain to people that want to know. With all this rhetoric, because God did not put only white people here. Whatever you want to call them.
Oh yeah, you brought up.
As I said, he
You
put
did bring
everybody
up-
on this that's
Huh?
here.
Yeah, you did bring up Marsh Call and civil rights itself. And
When he see a black
you brought
person
up,
on
you
the
did bring that up, and you brought up the Civil War even. You know,
that's
I do
what I'm
wonder.
saying.
Yeah,
That
I do wonder.
that was a risk killing it was.
I do
and
wonder, like, I do wonder what's the
what's the point?
what's the point of even
Savage
what's the
rules
point? Why
them to
why
kill
st- why still so much animosity, Maze? I mean, you brought up
because
history yourself. They had a whole civil war to free them and
That's
all
what I'm
that.
trying to say. They fought a whole civil
They had
war.
a whole
No,
civil war to free them and all that.
savages. Those were savages.
You said what? Who were savages?
Those were savage people.
The savages that had a
Who are-
civil war to free black people?
Who? No,
The white people who had a civil war to end slavery.
each other, and that's what they're doing now. The Democrats and the Republicans are fighting each other because if there wasn't, we wouldn't see the stuff that we're looking at. If his control is gone, we didn't take it away, and he is less people look like him as being born. That's not our problem. He need to get mad.
Oh, so
with
you
the
admit
people
it.
that- He
So
needs to
you
get mad
do
the
agree
people
with
that
him
had
then?
babies.
You do agree with him though then?
If he's going to become a minority, that's just too bad.
But
That's what he's
you do
gonna-
agree with him though that it is happening.
No.
then? You're saying it's not
I
nothing have
agree.
anything. You're saying you don't care about it, has nothing to do with you, but you do agree with what Mark brought up, that the dispossession and replacement of whites.
There's no replacement. If anybody replaces them, God's
But
doing it.
you just said it. Do you disagree now? You just said it. You said that has
Yes,
nothing
they
to do
are,
with
but
you, but it
what?
is happening.
They're not the first group of people that have been replaced. Native Americans been replaced. A whole lot
Well,
of people.
I think we made some progress, Maze. I mean, that's a first. I
What
think.
progress?
You agreeing with the replacement of whites?
If somebody is replacing you, why you got to be a savage about it?
Yeah, you're saying you shouldn't be upset about it. You're saying blacks have nothing to do with it. That Maze
we
doesn't
don't.
care, but you do
Well,
agree
he's
that
taking
it's
out on
happening.
black people. Like we walk the street. He looking at TikTok, which is half of his AI. He's too dumb to know that. Because he got such a high IQ. Anybody talking about a TikTok? Now, really, half of that stuff that you see and y'all pulling up that we see on the evening news came from TikTok. That's what they make the news out of today.
No, right now I'm just responding to you,
And they
Maze.
leave you out
But
there
hey,
foolish.
I'm glad we made some progress. Can you call me again?
Oh, yes, I will. So, Mark, get yourself together and stop being so hatred. And next time, think about the Civil War when you talk about black people, how y'all brother against brother. And that's where you're at today. Have a good one.
Call me again, Maze.
Yeah.
Ooh, sorry about that. 888. Look, always a pleasure, Maze. We love you. Same old. Some of that same old. No, some of that same old. Just right, she's on the same thing. Like, worry about yourself. You know, I had people call me yesterday, still on the civil rights. Nick, don't you know the civil rights was good? Da da da. And it was necessary. It was necessary. It was still on that. I mean, y'all don't know your history. That's really what it is. You guys call me all the time. Nick, you don't know history. No, y'all don't know your history. You guys think the story was blacks were like oppressed, and then they needed the civil rights. Y'all don't know. Y'all literally don't know your history. No, they had a civil war. They freed them, and then they were free. And then they came in and tried to tell them, hey, you're being mistreated. You need the government. Let's team up. Hey, blacks, team up with me, the government, and we'll go after these people. And it's like, oh, your mistreatment, your so-called mistreatment during Jim Crow and all that. It's the freedom that y'all wanted, in a sense. That is the freedom. Now you're free to disagree. You're free to compete economically, etc. There it is. It's like, no, government, back us up here. 50 years later, of course, some of these people are dead. The older folks say, hey, we actually had our own businesses. It's not like how you guys are saying. But nope, you're out there streets marching. And then they call it the civil rights movement. Y'all don't know your history. I mean, I'm trying to help you. Anyways, we're mere minutes, folks, away from the end of the show. We're mere minutes away. And I cannot take any more calls. I think that is it. Folks, yeah, I think that's it. We got Punchy TV coming up, though. So if you guys are raring to go, I need to call in and all that. Just calm down. We got an hour here of a break, and then we're back with Punchy TV. Okay? With the fellas, with the experts. Always fun. Don't miss it. That's punchy.tv. That's Punchy TV on YouTube. Coming up, okay? So take a chill out for a moment, but I mean, I was going to say don't touch that dial, but I guess you could touch it for an hour or something. That's it from me, though. More American Anchor, baby, tomorrow. That's Bible Thumper. Thursday, the Hake Report, of course. And more American Anchor, baby. For now, I must go. See you in a bit. Take care. Appreciate all the supporters. Like, subscribe, don't be rude. And I'll see you in a bit, okay? Peace. Take care.
The views, information, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this show are the individual's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of the JLP Network or Bond. Their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. The JLP Network and Bond name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service.